Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. So, I know I said I wasn't going to do any content today, but I read this thing about Taskmaster from Black Widow, and I had to give my thoughts on it. It seems that the writer has given a response to fan disapproval over Taskmaster twist. And, yeah, let's get into it. Basically, However, fan reactions have been mixed, large part due to the movie's treatment of one of its central antagonists. Taskmaster, known to comic book fans as Tony Masters, is revealed to be Antonio Dreykov, relating to Black Widow's morally questionable actions in Budapest. Many have even taken issue with this reveal, seeing as an unearned moment that wastes the potential of a fan favorite character. Even so, this doesn't seem to be the last fans will see of Taskmaster, with her future left open by the movie. Actually, it does, because they're going to be trying to, spoilers ahead, disengage the chip and make her more human again. Amongst this fan backlash, those behind the film have defended their decisions, citing connections to story and character. Why Taskmaster was changed. In an interview with Jenna Anderson and Brandon Davis of the Phase Zero podcast, Black Widow writer Eric Pearson touched on Taskmaster's reveal. Responding to criticism, Pearson talked about the kind of pushback he's been receiving from some fans online. I made the mistake of looking in direct messages, and someone said, "I don't mean to be out of line, but Taskmaster was the biggest betrayal of my life." And I was like, I got mad for a second, and then I was like, well, you've had a pretty good life then. If that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, then you should be psyched, because someone in a movie wasn't who you wanted them to be. Asked if there was concern in the writer's room about fan backlash, like the kind that erupted over Iron Man 3's Mandarin reveal, Pearson said no, also noting that he looked very, very far for, how do we get this Tony Masters guy to believably be an agent of the Red Room? No, I mean, it was more of a discussion of how do we make, because Taskmaster was going to be involved, and there was versions before I came in that it was Tony Masters. And I kept thinking, I was like, can this guy somehow not just be a goon? I don't want, my god, dude, you say an awful lot. Because Dreykov and the Red Room is the thing that tied into Natasha personally and her past. A giant, nefarious, as we learned, spy station that is circling the globe in the atmosphere. So why is there this guy? Why wouldn't this guy be an arm of them? Or why is there this guy? And, why would this guy be an arm of them? And that's what I kept trying to be like. Trust me. God, this guy speaks weird. I looked very, very far for, how do we get this Tony Masters guy to believably be an agent of the Red Room? Speaking about the decision to switch the character to Drago's daughter, Pearson noticed that it just seemed to make more sense. Really. It just kind of leaned more towards other things were making sense. Other parts of the puzzle were adding up. Oh, they stole from Ohio the cellular blueprint of the basal ganglia, whatever. And way to deconstruct free will. Okay, they've got the ability to build, rebuild the mind. Oh, Dreykov's daughter, Natasha used her as bait, blew her up what if she didn't survive, and this guy who was, a lot of brain science, is that a good way to find these photographic reflexes? It just seemed to make more sense. Well, no. Here's the thing, Taskmaster was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., he would have had contact with Agent Romanoff, and they could have easily made Taskmaster an agent of Hydra because of the stuff that was going on in the MCU. And after Hydra was revealed to the world, he could have went to the Red Room and trained the Widows. Because here's the thing, Taskmaster also started his own school for training assassins and whatnot. They could have easily kept him as Tony Masters, and after the whole Dreykov thing, he could have approached Dreykov and continued and worked for them as a mercenary. And it's like, okay, the Widows are not working out, time to send in the bigger bad, the one who could take on Natasha and kick her ass. That would have made more sense. Flipping it into Dreykov's daughter, by having Dreykov's daughter still remain dead and Dreykov being alive, maybe have him scarred up, that would have been a greater revenge tale. There's so much wrong with this that them saying that it seemed to make more sense to have Taskmaster as a gender-flipped or gender-swapped Dreykov daughter survived and then chipped and cybernetic so that she can learn all these things, it doesn't make sense because it's disingenuous to the original character. And I feel that by having it the way that I would have done it, by explaining how things could have done that way, you keep fans interested. You also keep the Taskmaster fans, well, loyal and liking the movie. You don't push this bullshit nonsense that everybody's got to be a fucking female except for a few guys. You know? That's just the woke bullshit that you guys pushed. Dreykov's daughter survives. Dreykov's daughter was one of the most debilitating things in Natasha Romanoff's in her whole life. So keeping that character dead and whatnot makes sense. It's something that keeps her in the moment of trying to wipe out the Ledger. Having her alive just makes it too easy to fix that whole situation. You have to live with this, with the consequences of your actions, you know? But yeah, folks, I wanted to go over this, and basically, I think that these idiots, this writer, Eric Pearson, you should have kept it as Tony Masters. Done what I just said in this video. Keep him as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. who was a Hydra agent who basically fell under Hydra, and then train the Widows because after Hydra fell, he really had nowhere to go, so he trained the Widows. That would have been more comic accurate and more parallel to the comic. Not exactly the same as the comic, but it would have been more faithful to the ideas of the character in the comics. You know? Anyway, folks, that's just my thoughts on this whole situation. They didn't need to gender flip Taskmaster. They didn't need to make him somebody who he wasn't. They could have kept the character in and made him who he was in the comic books. Anyway, that's going to be the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of this development? Yeah, this has been Orange Chat Reviews. Stay humble.